It's time for my Fast 5 quarterbacks for the 2020 draft. At number 5, Josh Allen. This one was close between Allen and Kyler Murray. I went with Allen, who's averaging over 19 fantasy points per game. He's also rushed for 510 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's huge in fantasy football. I've said it a lot. I think he's the next Cam Newton. At number 4, Russell Wilson. Okay, you might not like him right now, but he ranks third among quarterbacks, averaging 20.6 fantasy points per game. He has now averaged over 20 fantasy points a game in 4 of his last 6 seasons, so he's been pretty reliable in the NFL. At number 3, Deshaun Watson. He ranks second in fantasy points among quarterbacks. His 33 total touchdowns is second only to Lamar Jackson, and Watson's 21.6 fantasy point per game average in his career is second in NFL history. So Watson goes at number 3. At number 2, hey, Cole Wright. It's your pal, Patrick Mahomes. He ranks 7th in fantasy points and 30 points per game on quarterbacks. Now, his numbers are down compared to last year, but we all knew regression was coming. Still, he's an elite fantasy quarterback, and he's only 24 years old. And at number 1, the biggest no-brainer in the history of fantasy football, Lamar Jackson. He's averaging 27.7 fantasy points per game. That's the most by any quarterback in the history of the National Football League. He only needs 1.41 fantasy points to set the all-time record for points by a quarterback in a single season, which was set last year by Patrick Mahomes. But alas, Jackson's not playing in Week 17. Regardless, if you had Jackson on your roster, you probably won a championship. And those are my top 5 fantasy quarterbacks in 2020 draft.